Hi, travelers. This is just going to be an open reading. I just felt like reading the cards. I feel like I haven't touched them in a long time, but I know I just posted the the December readings. But my hands just need to kind of touch some cards. So I'm using, of course, the Rider-Waite deck, and I'll be using the La Vida Sibila for clarification. If you caught my article this week over on Substack, and I was talking to you about tarot hygiene and what you should do when you get a new deck of cards, and so my old deck of cards, both sets, I manually cleaned them with the salt spray that I was telling you guys about, and put them out in my greenhouse in the moonlight. And so giving them a moon bath is also a really, really good idea to help recharge and refresh the cards. But then I like to let them rest. I don't ever put my cards up, dirty and leave them with a bunch of residual energies, not to touch them again for a long time. I always make sure I clean them and put them away. And so the cards that I have today are super slick. I clean these as well, but because I'm going to be using them, they're fresh, they're new, they haven't been bent, they don't have, anything on them, so they're kind of slickery. Anyway, I did have a card to come out. The reverse King of Swords. Well, not a nice person. Cruel, cold, calculating, sarcastic. It speaks to injustices. There's several other little meanings here. But basically, this means that you're either dealing with someone who has those qualities, someone, and this could be a partner, a family member, a boss. You are dealing with someone who is just a mean, nasty kind of a person. If this is a legal case, we don't know what the cards are going to be talking about, but it could be telling you that you need to check the facts of your case because there could be some misinformation involved, okay? So let me go ahead and turn the camera around. I'm just going to go ahead and deal the cards. Hannah and I have a girls' day today. We're going to be doing our hair and doing our nails, so a little bit later on. Oh, goodness. So hopefully the camera won't go out of focus, right? All right, so I'm not going to shuffle these anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and cut the deck. Okay, they're so slickery. And then we're going to deal. The Nine of Swords. Wow. The Six of Wands. Well, that's an odd trio of cards. That's an odd sentence. The Ten of Cups. The Two of Cups. The Six of Cups. Now I have two sixes and three cups. Well, the Knight of Swords. The Nine of Wands. So now I have two nines, two court cards, two sixes, and the Five of Pentacles. Well, something has changed, and I don't quite know what that is at the moment. Okay. What is the energy over the entire spread? It is the Chariot card. Well, the big seven right at the top. Sevens are always moments of contemplation, of self-doubt, of questioning oneself. But the Chariot card says that if you can keep your emotions in check, you can move forward with whatever it is that you're trying to do. It implies travel. It implies movement. It represents the sign of Cancer. So we are talking about emotions. We are talking about those things that we care or feel deeply about. But as we all know, the Chariot is a war vehicle. So this is not about an easy ride or a ride of luxury. It is a bumpy ride, right? But in order for us to just simply get from point A to point B on this bumpy road, we're going to have to make sure that we really take the reins and hold on quite, skillfully. So if you will take a look, you have the dark Sphinx, the negative, and the white Sphinx, the positive. And so this is about balancing the two sides of that emotional energy. And then, and only then, can you move forward. So we were talking about this King of Swords here. And this is definitely a male energy, a masculine energy. So this will apply no matter if it's same sex or heterosexual relationship. Whomever's going to take the role of the male or identifies with the role of the male. It is someone who, for all intents and purposes, just perhaps isn't really a happy person. But I feel that there's this issue of family. There's this issue of a couple, even children here. I mean, it's the story, it's like it's broken down. Here we see the full picture of the family with the two kids. There we see the couple, but then we see the two kids here. Okay, so this is just basically going on visually what I'm saying. And then we see past, present, future, interplay of the cards. We see this reverse King of Swords. There are no major arcana cards here in the spread itself. So this tells me that this is on a mundane level. 3 cups, 2 wands, 3 swords, and a pentacle. So the spiritual lesson here is this idea of whatever is happening here in the situation, it's going to require you to have some emotional strength. That's what I'm looking for, okay? So the Ten of Cups is a positive card, and it talks about the idea of family, a home life, that becoming very important, being a sanctuary to you. But it also talks about maybe taking vacations with family and visiting with friends and whatnot, and good times being had by all. It's really like the card of plenty. Everyone has exactly what they need, and everyone is happy and healthy, and things great. But then we see this Knight of Swords, who comes from the court of this King of Swords, okay? So in other words, you can say that the message of the knight either is about him or from him, okay? And we see him rushing back towards the past. Now, the energy of the spread is kind of, directionality is important. We have a couple of figures faced this way, but for the most part, everyone's kind of faced towards this way, particularly in this down here. The energy runs back this way, towards the past. So I'm not exactly sure what this message is, but it is also an event. For those of you who've been with me for a while, you know that the knights represent events. And when I say an event, it is that some kind of news or message comes in to move a situation along. This is kind of a slow-moving energy, okay? I'm not exactly sure who is having upset or nightmares or fears or feeling guilty or whatever their conscience is telling them. But this is really the idea that something is really weighing heavily on someone's mind. Maybe you are losing sleep over it. But then the Six of Wands comes along to kind of say you kind of overcome that in some way, or it's overcome this fear at night. It's overcome. But it's not done without the help of other people. So in just a basic context, the Six of Wands says that you're going to get some kind of recognition. Well, recognition, is it going to, are you going to be famous or are you going to be infamous? This is the question. So I'm not quite sure how that Six of Wands is playing out in this particular spread, because it implies a victory. It implies something to celebrate. It implies that something wonderful has happened and things are moving along. Now, 2 sixes, remember I said I had 2 sixes. 2 sixes can imply justifiable faith and trust in your partner, but 2 sixes can also imply, hold on one second. Issues surrounding equality will affect the relationship. Okay? And remember, I told you I have 2 9s. So 2 9s can be an indication one of you needs to spend more time alone, and maybe that's what that is. Someone is fearful that they're going to leave. Okay? But the other meaning of 2 9s is the idea of a house move or change of address, which we have cards that indicate the idea of home life. And so when I come to the row in the middle, it's very interesting because from the 10 to the 2 gives me the 8 cups if I subtract. But if I add the 2 to the 6, again, it's the 8 cups. So there's an implied 8 of cups here. So presently, maybe in the past, there were issues, there were trouble that were overcome. But then again, we see here presently, and past can be last week to last year. So it's kind of subjective, I think. Even here in the past, this odd King of Swords. I just don't get how things can be happy with someone described with the character as such. And so maybe that's what the Knight of Wands is trying to give me some more information. But we see here the 2 of Cups. The 2 of Cups can be not just the idea of a romantic partnership, but just partnership in general. The kind of partnership in which both people are respected by each other, they care for each other, they love one another. It's about solid ideas being exchanged between 2 people. So this could be even in a business partnership or a friendship. And I have seen this card show up sometimes when it talks about a new partner coming along. One that will be able to help you to do whatever it is that you want to do. And then we come to the 6, the card of sharing, giving, kindness, nostalgia, but sometimes also childhood. So I have seen this card show up when it talks about people returning home for going to their childhood home. Maybe they're going for a visit or something with family. We do know the holidays are here. So this, in a sense, kind of portends a really, really good time. There's a lot of emotion involved here, but it's centered around family and love and home and what those things actually mean. But then in the future row, we see this message. And we also see the 9 of Wands. And kind of what's interesting to me is the 9 of Wands figure looks like he'd been in a battle with this knight. And maybe he whipped this knight and this knight decides to take off. Okay. But the 9 of Wands says that you have been in a battle. You feel bruised. You feel beat up. Maybe you're feeling a bit tired and a bit hurt. But yet you still have the strength of character to get back in there and fight some more. But it ends in this really kind of strange 5 of Pentacles. This card says that it talks about physical poverty, yes, but it also talks about poverty of spirit or poverty of self. In other words, if you're struggling with finances, if you're worried about how you're going to pay your bills, you may be feeling rather have a low estimation of yourself at the moment, you know. It talks about not being so caught up in your problems that you walk right by help. This always tells me that there are 5 things that need to be done in order for you to get yourself out of this situation. Okay? It could be someone perhaps in your family that may be in this particular situation, and there's 5 things that they need to do. So maybe the help that you can provide to them is to not give them money, but maybe talk to them or help them to do whatever the 5 things are that they need to do. But this card also says, you know, don't give up, because you're about to achieve something that you didn't think you were going to be able to achieve. And so the story is kind of strange to me. And since I don't have any major arcana cards save for the Chariot, I'm going to take a look to see if any of these cards have a meaning associated with the Chariot card. And so even here with the 2 6s, I see that there's this victory. I've seen this card show up when it talks about a promotion or getting your name in the paper or most definitely getting the rewards and the accolades due you. Maybe there's something about that that's good enough for you to share, or you want to share with someone. But there's a figure in the background of this card who's walking away. And I don't know if I can show him to you, if you can see him here. But there, he's walking away. And in a sense, that's kind of what I'm picking up from this reverse King of Swords. That even though all of this may be, he's not happy, and he's not settled with this particular situation. So first, let me see if I can gain any insight with any of these cards, because this card does have an influence over this entire reading here. Let's see. And then I'm going to take a look to see if there's any additional meaning with the Nine of Swords. I don't see anything about the Nine of Swords, except it tells of an unfortunate set of circumstances and or inconsolable unhappiness and deep personal loss. Six of Wands doesn't tell me anything if there's any additional message associated with the Chariot card. I don't see. Nothing about the Six of Wands. Going the wrong way. With the Ten of Cups. Definitely talks about changes in the air. Nothing with the Ten of Cups or the Two of Cups. I'm quite sure of this. Right? Or the Six of Cups, because I just saw it. Right. So that leaves me the Nine of Wands and the Five of Pentacles. Nothing about the Nine of Wands, and so now the Five of Pentacles. This card is also about friendship sometimes. Okay. Well, interestingly, the Five of Pentacles here with the Ten of Cups, it indicates happy family ties and celebrations, and rewards are ahead of you. It indicates good fortune to do with monetary gain, possibly even a win or inheritance. When the Five of Pentacles appears with the Ten of Cups, it implies that good fortune is on its way, with an influx of income or monetary gain in the offing. But if that is the case, and this individual is still in the picture, so to speak, there's a warning that they may try to take over. Let's see. It represents someone who dislikes losing and will go out of their way to manipulate and cause trouble. In other words, they're a power tripper. It can indicate someone who is intelligent and independent, but can be cruel and explosive in nature. He chooses to exploit those weaker than himself. It's also an indication that someone who is very strong-willed may come in and attempt to take control of the situation. The person could be overbearing and obnoxious, and it may also be indicating an argument or disagreement or a situation where compromise cannot be found. Well, I don't know about that. So I think the first thing I want to do is take a look at what this Knight of Swords says. And the reason why I'm going to look at that card first is because these horses are going in two different directions. One's going into the future, one's going into the past. The letterato, the man waiting. He can also, he's known as the artiste, so it would be somebody who has some skill, but they're kind of aloof and somewhat calculating, highly intelligent. The Yardro, the thief. Well, this is usually when they show up together. It brands this person with that particular type of energy. Someone who will steal from you, not just necessarily physical things, but can steal your peace of mind, your sense of safety and emotion and care. And the Amore card. Well, that's quite interesting. Now, there is a slight, very, very rare meaning of the Yardro. It can sometimes be someone who's born into abject poverty. Okay? But even still, I never like to see this card come out next to a significator card, the Letterato. As you can see, he appears to be waiting to have a conversation. He's seated in his library. And so I'm not quite sure if this Amore card is simply coming out as an intensifier about this person. So I'm going to check on that. So let's go ahead and look at this King of Swords to see if the cards can tell us. I mean, that would be in keeping. Maybe someone stealing something from you financially, perhaps. Maybe they are only with you because you have something, you have money. The L'Amica, the friend, or at a friend's house. The Sospiri. Huh. And the Militare. And in effect, this gentleman might have something to do with the military or law enforcement himself. Rather a martial air or military bearing. Can be a doctor, a soldier. If he's a doctor, he's going to be a surgeon. He's not going to be just a general GP. He would be a surgeon, a chef, a dentist, someone who uses sharp tools or keen intellect to get the job done. So I am a bit perplexed because this does speak about a person. It is a significator card, and it talks about, it could be someone who maybe you're friends with. It could be a colleague. It could even be a sister, but someone who knows people and can introduce you to people. But then we find the Sospiri card, and the Sospiri card is the card of sighs and tears, and it talks about the feeling of being left behind or thinking you've been left behind. Okay, but it's not about something that's happening presently. It is something that is being projected into the future, as you can see the broken arrow there. And it's here with the Militare. Now the Militare card can be a person, but in this sense I find that what the Militare is talking about is that the environment can be rather hostile, that it's going to require work for this to happen. I'm just a bit confused as to why the L'Amica would fall on top of this reverse King of Swords, unless this is the energy of this L'Amica, that maybe the friend has now become cold and aloof to you. But it's due to something that is being projected into the future. So that only leaves me one other card in which to look. The Dileranti. The conversation. La conversazione. Aha, and the Vecchia Signora. So, if this is a family situation, granted. And the reason why I'm saying that is because there's this idea of plurality here. I have two people here. I have several people in the spread itself. There are two people over here. Okay. There are 3 figures here. And then I have this. Okay. And the Ilderanti is a group of people around whom have mutually exclusive beliefs. They may be talking crazy stuff and you don't believe it, but they also have the ability to sway other people. Okay? It's the crazy people. It's the drunk people. It's the people who may drink or do drugs. This can sometimes be an indication that if you are going someplace where there are large groups of people, trouble will be found. Okay? But then we see the card of the Conversazione, the Ace of Cups. This usually portends something good. But backed up by this Vecchia Signora, the card of tradition, of things staying the same, it says to me that whatever the conversation is with the people who are out of control, it's really not going to go anywhere. So that's why the 5 of Pentacles has come out. In other words, you're going to have to walk away from this group of people or this circumstance, this situation. And you may be feeling mighty low, but don't necessarily think that all hope is lost, because it's not. If this is true, that it could be some money coming in, this could be your crazy relatives or crazy friends coming up trying to talk to you, to get stuff out of you. You know what I'm saying? Asking you to do all kinds of crazy things and spend your money all kind of crazy ways. And so, again, be careful with that. So, I want to take a quick look. Yardro. I never like to see that card come out because he absolutely has nothing good to say at all. It brands a person or situation with the stigma of theft, untrustworthiness, and or loss. So it's a message. The card heralds a change. Remember I said, but something changes. It heralds a change, a sudden turn of events for the worse, caused by the presence of ill-intentioned people near you. It can sometimes indicate someone who wants to take something that does not belong to them, or someone with ulterior motives. It can also indicate a condition of mental, emotional, physical, or financial drain. But on an emotional level, the thief refers to betrayal and treachery. Well, it could also be like the psychic vampire person. Now, it says in love, it indicates someone who is unfaithful, or someone who wants to steal the partner or steal you for themselves from the partner. But it can also indicate a lack of affinity between two people, whether in a love relationship or not. It is a card of contracts and clashes of personality, mutually exclusive beliefs. Now, I don't know why this is. I don't know if there's a third-party friend here in the background. Maybe you might be the third party. Yeah, there's a third party involved here in some way, shape, or form. And the cards are not wanting necessarily to bring out the full scope. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the, what do you call it? To the Golden Nostradamus and allow you to, yeah, it is simply an intensifier. Highlighting your personal involvement and that your feelings or affections will be involved or touched by the overall message, including something that can sting you to the quick. Now, as for timing, I don't necessarily have a timing for this, but it looks like it would be perhaps some kind of family event. You know, someone enters the picture or says something or does something, and then there's a whole bunch of chaos, and you try to talk it out, but it doesn't seem to go anyplace. If this is about you receiving some kind of win or inheritance or something of that nature, Again, do be careful of the people around you or those that come out of the woodwork. Okay? Here's your card. Golden Nostradamus. It is the tree, which implies strength and longevity, putting down roots even. If you cannot have what you want, then settle for what you can. The stability of the tree advises caution. It is not the right time to change or take risks. Save your energy and seek stability in mind and body. In other words, look after yourself. So that's what I have for you. What a very odd reading. But these are kind of strange times, particularly with this full moon in Gemini and Mars in Gemini. There's a lot of angst in the air. You know what I mean? And so just hang in there. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.